Hello everyone and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Global AM News. Coming to you live from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, I am Uyi Agmofwegbe, reminding our viewers that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. After days of disruption, medical services in Abuja are back on track as the resident doctors suspend their indefinite strike. At the Wuse District Hospital, our correspondent Zarau Nasir observed that normal activities are resumed, with doctors attending to patients without interruption.
Resident doctors, who are medical professionals in specialist training and a critical backbone of public hospitals, had been on strike over unresolved issues. During the visit, Global TV observed that wards and consultation rooms were active once again, with patients being attended to as routine services returned. The atmosphere at the hospital reflected a return to normalcy. On the streets, residents welcomed the suspension of the strike. They appealed to both the government and the doctors to resolve their differences once and for all, stressing that repeated disputes could cripple the healthcare system in the Federal Capital Territory.
I will call the doctors and the government to consider the need of the citizens of Nigeria, so that to negotiate with the government so that every face will face a justice.
If we're looking at the health, which involves life of human being, you're supposed to have a standby policy that will make health workers not to go on strike, given the poor system of the economy. People are suffering, people are not feeling well.
But we just hope that since they've called off the strike now, we just hope that this will be, probably the end of it. We won't be seeing any further strike from.
With doctors back on duty, hospitals in Abuja have regained stability, but many agree that only a lasting solution between both sides will prevent further breakdowns in healthcare delivery. Zahra Nasser, report to Global TV News.
Thank you so very much, Zahra. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kalu, says Nigeria must embrace state police to tackle insecurity more effectively. He also called for support for President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms and pushed for greater women's representation in Parliament. National Assembly correspondent Anietie Patrick reports.
Speaking to journalists in Abuja after returning from the WTO Inter-Parliamentary Union Conference in Geneva, Kalu described the current centralized police system as inadequate. On the global stage, the Deputy Speaker highlighted Nigeria's role in digital trade discussions and insisted that Africa's priorities must not be left out of next year's WTO Ministerial Conference in Cameroon.
The argument was that there should be a legislative tool, tracking tool, that will enable most of the countries within Africa, in fact the world, to look at how far they have gone with implementing those legislations with regards to this digital trading, track their successes.
Kalu also praised Nigerians for standing with the president through the removal of fuel subsidy and other difficult reforms. He further urged lawmakers to support the reserved seats bill for women, stressing that democracy and economic progress cannot thrive without women in decision-making.
On the exclusive list and what is on the concurrent list, certain subject matters will not be handled by state police, while exclusive matters will be handled by federal police. So if we break it down, set up the structure the way Nigerians want it, and there are things that come naturally to women. Things like the child rights, the women rights, the girl child rights, the welfare, humanitarian issues, certain things ordinarily come, disabilities and all of that.
Kalu also reaffirmed his backing for diaspora voting, but cautioned that Nigeria must first strengthen its electoral system. He maintained that the National Assembly will continue to deploy what he calls legislative diplomacy to address local challenges while ensuring Nigerians' voice is heard globally. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Away from Anita's report now, the Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike has flagged off the construction of access roads ILS 02 and ILS 03, the Mipresido Street in Mabushi District, linking to the Northern Parkway in Abuja. The project is part of the administration's continued efforts to implement its mandate for infrastructure development across the Federal Capital Territory. Our correspondent, Kabir Hassan, was there for Global Television.
In line with the administration commitment to restoring the Abuja Master Plan, the project will decongest traffic within Mabushi, link the Northern Parkway, and create easier access to major part of the city center. FCT administration officials says the road network will not only improve mobility but also enhance infrastructure development and attract investment opportunities to the area. The Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike says the flag-up will enhance infrastructure and ease connectivity within the city.
To implement what Mr. President, his vision and his mission, and what the Renewed Hope agenda has for the people of Nigeria, and in particular the Federal Capital Territory.
He also expressed appreciation to the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his continuous support and commitment to infrastructure development in the Federal Capital Territory, assuring that the project will be completed in a period of 18 months, which will carry other infrastructures.
To continue to thank Mr. President for the love, for his commitment to make our city capital to reward to be called a city capital, that before the tenure of Mr. President expires, Abuja will be a different thing. In terms of infrastructure, Abuja will compete with other known cities of the world.
With the flag off of the Mabushi Access Road, the FCT administration hopes to further ease traffic flow and improve development within the nation's capital. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
Kabir Hassan there for us. In the meantime, the Department of Federal Capital Territory Administration Development Control, in its efforts to tackle insecurity across Abuja, has clamped down hideouts of kidnappers terrorizing Kobe community in Asokoro Extension. Again, Kabir Hassan completes the report.
The hideout of the suspected kidnappers who have been terrorizing residents of Kobe and Makaranta communities in Asokoro Extension area of Abuja Municipal Area Council has been demolished by the security operatives from the Federal Capital Development Authority, FCDA. The operation carried out is part of a broader effort by the FCT administration to rid the city of criminal elements and reclaim public spaces. Speaking at the site, the Director of Development Control at the FCDA, Mukhtar Galadima, revealed that the hideout has become a base of criminals, revealing that a security operative was recently killed in the area by suspected kidnappers.
Our purpose is to clear this forest, which has become an ungoverned space. We recall about a week ago there was a report of kidnap, and the kidnappers were traced to this place. In an effort to recover or to retrieve the people that were kidnapped, one of the vigilante officers lost his life. So that's why this morning we want to make sure that all trees are brought down.
Galadima also noted that the operation will not only limit itself, but will go around all FCT suspected hideouts to clamp them down.
We are not limiting the exercise to the city center. We are going around and beyond the city center.
With the operation now ongoing, residents of Kobe and neighboring Makaranta communities express relief at the development, but urge the government to take further steps to ensure long-term safety in the area by establishing a permanent security outpost to tackle the menace of kidnapping and other criminal activities. Kabir Hassan, reporting for Global TV News.
Former national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has assured Nigerians of the commitment of President Bola Tinubu to end security threats bedeviling parts of the country. To complement these efforts, special prayers have been offered by the Ganduje Foundation in Kano. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin sent in this report.
Alongside senior religious scholars, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje says the prayer session is also for the peaceful coexistence and religious tolerance among Nigerians.
We all pray, all political parties are requested to pray for peace and stability of this country, because the peace, we are all beneficiaries for peace and stability in this country.
The occasion also featured the administration of the Shahada to 280 new converts under the Ganduje Foundation.
To Allah zai biya wannan bukata. Idan Allah ba zai biya wannan bukatar ba, ba zai baka iko ka daga hannu ba. Amma san da duk ka daga hannu, tabbatar Allah zai biya maka bukatar ka.
The former chairman of the APC assured them of the foundation's support under its economic and social empowerment program.
It's not by force at all. It is through dialogue. It's only when they agree. If they don't agree, they have their own right and remain in the condition which they decide to find themselves.
Each of them also received Islamic books to guide them on the theories and practice of Islam.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has released the final list of candidates for the 2026 Federal Capital Territory Area Council election. The Commission said 17 political parties submitted the particulars of the candidates by the deadline of August 11th, 2025. The publication follows the inclusion of the period for withdrawal and substitution. In a statement signed by the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumeko, the Commission explained that the final list contains the names of candidates along with their parties, age, gender, and academic qualifications. It has been uploaded to annex websites and social media platforms. The planned commencement of trial in the cybercrime charges brought against suspended Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan before the Federal High Court in Abuja has been stalled following an objection raised by her counsel, Ehiorogi West Idahosa, senior advocate of Nigeria. Akpoti-Oduaghan is facing 6-count charge brought under the Cybercrimes Prohibition Prevention Amendment Act 2024 against her by the federal government. Akpoti-Oduaghan, who was arraigned on June 30 and granted bail on self-recognition, is alleged to have transmitted false and injurious information via electronic means with the intention of inciting, endangering lives, and breaching public order. Former National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, has congratulated the immediate past Vice Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano, Professor Adamu Abbas, having successfully served the university for 5 years. During a grand academic salute in honor of Abbas, academicians acknowledged the transformative leadership of the former VC within the last 5 years. Global TV correspondent Idris Jibrin was there and our reports.
Organized by the former First Lady of Kano State, Professor Hafsat Ganduje, the event is a celebration of academic excellence, transformative leadership and legacies of the immediate past Vice Chancellor of the Bayero University, Kano. According to the former chairman, Professor Sagir's visionary leadership and transformative achievement have brought growth and development to Bayero University. The aim of the program was also to further recognize the contributions of some notable Nigerians, including the Minister of State for Education, the incoming and the outgoing Vice Chancellors of the university for their contributions to the development of education sector in Nigeria.
University, and this award at the same time is laying a solid foundation for your administration. You inherited a successful leadership, and from what we know, from what we see, from what we anticipate, is another successful university leadership.
For the convener of the Grand Salute, Professor Hafsat Ganduje, the success of Professor Abbas is a collective victory for Bayero University and Nigeria's education sector in general.
You can see how everything is coupling together. So I have been directed and I have been requested on behalf of the Bayero University.
While commending the convener, the outgoing VC, Professor Adamu Abbas, acknowledged the immense contribution of Abdullahi Ganduje and Professor Hafsat for the development of the university over the years.
I extend my thanks to the provost, the first provost of College of Education and Allied Studies, deans and heads of department, colleagues and students of the college and allied courses, and your commitment, sacrifices and loyalty gave meaning to our collective efforts. Today's event is not about me alone. It is about all of us who labored to move Bayero University forward despite lean resources, numerous expectations, and unprecedented global challenges.
Highlight of the event include presentation of awards to some promoted professors of the Bayero University, Kano, as well as recognition of the incoming Vice Chancellor, Professor Haruna Musa. From Kano, Idris Jubrin, reporting for Global Television News.
Appreciate you for your reporting, Idris. Let's turn to other stories now. Despite protests in some quarters, the 63 elected councillors in Edo State by election conducted by the state's Independent Electoral Commission last Saturday have received their certificates of return as fears of impeachment, resignation, and suspension of the current acting chairman looms over some councils. However, the commission in a press statement noted that the order was granted without affording it to be heard and that it has taken steps through its legal representatives to file a motion or notice seeking to discharge the order and ensure accelerated hearing of the substantive suit. You're watching the AM News here on Global Television. When we return, we have more stories for you. Please do stay with us. The second part of this news broadcast now returns with business. The Speaker, House of Representatives, Tajudeen Abbas, says President Bola Tinubu has assured the National Assembly that all government borrowings under his will be sustainable, transparent, and targeted at development. He was speaking at the opening of the 8th Annual African Network of Parliamentarian Budget Offices Conference in Abuja. The Speaker noted that the House firmly backs the President's approach to loan-based development and economic reforms after earlier comments on Nigeria's rising debt profile were misrepresented. National Assembly correspondent Anisi Patrick completes the story.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajudeen Abbas, says the House stands firmly behind President Bola Tinubu's borrowing strategy, insisting it is key to financing critical infrastructure and stimulating economic growth. He argued that when prudently managed, public debt remains a vital tool for growth, financing critical infrastructure and protecting vulnerable populations. He also disclosed that the House is pushing reforms to strengthen fiscal oversight, curb leakages, and boost accountability in the use of public resources.
Procurement processes, which make up a significant part of government spending. Nigeria loses an estimated $18 billion each year to financial crimes.
The Speaker also warned that Nigeria loses about $18 billion annually to financial crimes, stressing the need for stronger parliamentary oversight to safeguard public resources.
Corruption alone is estimated to drain about 148 billion from Africa annually. And other illicit financial flows such as trade malpractices, smuggling, among others.
Also speaking, Chairperson of the African Network of Parliamentary Budget Offices, Professor Dumisani Jantjis, warned that Africa's economies remain highly vulnerable to external shocks, including volatile capital flows, global trade disruptions, and climate change impacts.
This context makes fiscal oversight role of NABRO more crucial than ever. The challenge now is to consolidate these gains and translate macroeconomic stability into inclusive growth and tangible development within Nigeria.
At the conference, Abbas was named patron of the Parliamentary Budget Offices Network as he rallied African lawmakers to embrace evidence-based budgeting and adopt stronger oversight measures in line with the continent's 2063 development agenda. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Global TV.
Let's turn to sports now. Ahead of the 27th edition of the Nigerian University Games Association, NUGA 2025, Bagush Royal Promotion and Holding has gone into partnership with Global Television in order to have the hosting rights for the games. Samuel Odi reports for us.
With over 250 universities confirmed to participate from the 6th to the 16th of November 2025, University of Jos will become the heartbeat of university sport as athletes compete in more than 18 sporting disciplines ranging from football, swimming, tennis, and combat sports. In the landmark move, NUGA 2025 has entered into a strategic partnership with Global TV Abuja. The acting managing director, Aisha Lari Musa, promised a nationwide reach and international exposure for both the athletes and the host states.
And I want to assure you that Global Television will do its best. We are new, but we are strong. We are vibrant. And you can always count on us for our publicity and coverage and our reach.
Speaking at the partnership meeting, the consultants to NUGA 2025 reaffirmed the commitment of the local organizing committee, stating that the game will not only be about medals and trophies, but about rewriting the history of Plateau State through sports, tourism, and youth engagement.
Jos has been known in the front burner of recently as a crisis zone, but we want to change the narratives. We try to involve the host states to actively participate. The University of Jos is not only hosting, but we want the host states to participate.
With sports, culture, and innovation set to converge in Jos this November, NUGA 2025 is more than just a tournament. It is a redefining moment for Nigerian universities, Plateau State, and the future of youth development through sports. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Well, thank you so very much, Samuel Odi, for bringing us that very vital piece of update. That's it on AN News here on Global Television. A quick reminder, as always, that we are on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. As always, we also encourage you to follow and engage with us across all social media platforms using @Global TV NG, as well as other handles as you now find on your screen. I am Uyi Agmofwebe, appreciating you for your time with us on the news. Global Morning starts shortly.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Thank you for joining us, everyone, as always, here on Global Morning. Again, we're grateful knowing that you made that very important choice to join us here on the program. This is Global Television. We're on DSTV, channel 365, Star Times, channel 276, and we stream on YouTube, as well as you can engage and interact with us across all social media platforms. The handle is at Global TVNG. I'm Uyi Agmofwebe, the lady who looks like a corporate lawyer this morning, even though she's in communications business now, is also on the program. She is Priscilla Obasi. You know, I'm trying not to murder that name again.
Yeah, thank you for trying your best. Good morning.
How's it going?
Fine, thank you.
All right. I saw that in some parts of the city, I mean Abuja this morning, there were indications it could rain, but you don't look like you were caught in the rain at all.
Well, surprisingly, coming out, there wasn't rain, but some parts of Abuja, I think I saw the area kind of damp, so it's possible that
obviously it rained maybe somewhere in the middle of the night.
Yes, yeah. But overall, I think it's a good weather. Yeah,
it is. I agree with that. Somebody said the rains are cycling out, so this is more like the last round of rain. So you just understand and bear with the weather. Of course, the elements can never stop us here on Global Morning, as well as for those of us who are in the business of broadcasting. I'm talking about weather and the rains, for example. People complain when it's rainy season. Then it becomes dry season, they complain. It becomes is it Hamilton or something?
Yeah.
They also complain. So is there a weather in which human beings, or let's say Nigerians in this case, at least we're used to Hamilton and stuff like that, where people don't complain?
Well, every weather favors whoever it is that is experiencing for the rainy season. The farmers get to smile. And then, I don't know if the hot season, the heat season favors anybody at all.
Are you sure?
I don't know.
Maybe for those who are in the business of incubation of some kind.
Maybe. Yes, that's the season where they get to smile. But overall, I don't think anybody. I think we enjoy for me personally, let me speak for myself. I enjoy the Harmattan season more. I like the cool weather.
And you don't care what the Harmattan does to your lips?
Well, that's that one day. Yeah, but I mean, you cannot please human beings. So any weather that comes, we just enjoy it.
I totally agree. Yesterday I was talking with a colleague and he said, look, I've planted certain things, so this rain should continue for us as long as possible. Like you said, every weather favors certain people. All right, but here I will just continue to keep you posted as to what exactly it is, especially as it has to do with those advisories coming out of the weather authorities in terms of what flooding could be doing to some communities across several states all over the country, and what state governments, or if you like, sub-nationals generally are expected to do in this regard to help people who are vulnerable in this regard and things like that. We're taking a quick break. When we return, Priscilla and I will unpack the rest of the program for you. Do stay with us. All right, so if you look at the papers this morning, one of the stories you're likely going to see is, can we say the returning governor of Rivers State meeting with President Bola Tinubu. Of course, the man returned to office a few days ago. By yesterday, he was at the villa to meet with the president. Well, maybe what they talked about will come later, but maybe it's also a sign that things are beginning to return to normal, all right, because 6 months away from office, it looks like the man needs to begin to learn the ropes afresh in some certain respects, right?
Well, I don't know how Nigerians are dealing it. Do I say some people are disappointed, others are, expected everything they are saying right now, knowing how politics go in Nigeria, godfatherism and all of that. Personally, let me reserve my comment.
Okay, so personally, you probably think Governor Fubara should not have returned to office. After all, the man said his spirit had left government house.
I mean, why are you back? You should have shown some.
But spirits are dynamic. They can go and return. I mean, don't you think so?
I didn't expect this. Well, I didn't expect, even if he was going to come back, he should have, did a little or done a little fizzy, just
do some shakara,
some small shakara here.
But how would that affect his reputation and then, of course, the impact on the people of the states?
Because at this point, it looked like godfatherism is here to stay in Nigeria. There's nothing we can do about it.
So we have made an institution out of it.
Yes, we've made an institution out of this whole thing. I personally expected more from Fubara, in all honesty. I didn't expect him to play this way, dance to this tone. You understand? Just, have your words. Let it be a 50-50 somehow. You understand? And I don't know. I'm just short of words. I don't say what I do.
For perspective, we've also seen the governor. I mean, we've heard him say time and again that peace is paramount. That's number one. Number two is that there is no price too high to pay for peace. Who knows? Maybe that's the price he's paying for not just his personal peace, but the peace of the good people of the great state of Rivers.
In all of this, we don't even know what the issue was about in the first place. So, personally,
well, we can give us an insight. We can say agreement is agreement. Does that not provide some sort of idea?
What kind of agreement? Why should an agreement?
We also says it doesn't like ungrateful people.
I mean, we don't know what the issue is. We just see we citing, some things here and there. But then, why should it be about Wike? Wike is no longer the governor. Why should we be having a state of emergency because of an agreement is agreement drama? I mean, so with all of this, what are we standing on? What are we? No, it was not worth it in the first place. And if he was going to come back, I mean, his reputation should be of course, is at stake in all of this.
And you're talking about Governor Fubara now.
Yes, his reputation is at stake in all of this. He should be a 50-50. Let us know what happened. Let us know why he was removed, and let him address all of those things if he was going to come back. Let him talk to us. Yes, I am not a citizen of Rivers State, but I am in Nigeria.
But has he spoken to Rivers people even?
He hasn't. We're expecting, I'm still expecting a lot from him. I expect to see that he addresses the situation for what it actually is.
He says he will speak at the right time.
Well, it's getting too late at this point, honestly. I don't think it has lingered for so long. The reason for Tinubu to make such a decision, or to take such a decision, for me, for still
about the state of emergency.
The state of emergency, it wasn't worth it. Yes, and then him coming back, it looks like he's been thrown around here and there, being tossed
by the power brokers.
Exactly, by the power brokers, and it doesn't really say well of his reputation. I don't know what his plans are. Of course, it's politics. He has his own way of, he might have his plan eventually. He might have his plan, and whatever that plan is, really want to see it, in the positive light, because in all honesty, I would say I am disappointed.
You raised an issue about why does it have to always be wiki, the wiki element, the wiki factor, and all of that. Yesterday we had a guest here, Chief Chibuna about wiki. One of the things I asked him was, why are we on that compulsion of some kind to revolve around wiki every time we're having the conversation that has to do with River State, Fubara, and all of that?
Yeah.
The man said we can't take wiki away. That wiki is Fubara's boss. That even Fubara himself has acknowledged that much, which is true. The videos are out there. So is it even realistic to say let's remove wiki from the conversation?
Wiki was once Amechi was once Wiki's boss.
The wiki has never openly acknowledged, at least, that Amechi was his boss.
That's to tell you the kind of person Wiki is.
So why do we always say, is it like Fubara has never doesn't have his own errors and all of this? They build up to this crisis and all of that. Why do we always make it like Wiki is the bad guy in the room, so to speak?
Because we have seen Wiki do worse. Wiki shouldn't be expecting the kind of loyalty he's expecting from Fubara. He has not shown that kind of loyalty to his benefactors. So why is he big on this agreement thing?
Maybe he didn't reach an agreement with those other benefactors, but he did with Mr. Fubara. Who knows? The dynamics are not the same exactly.
I don't think so. Maybe there was no written agreement. Maybe it wasn't as strong as it is. But whatever the case, Wiki did not appear into the limelight.
Okay, let me add to this quickly before we take a break and go to papers. This River State issue, from what I see and the conversations we including yourself, have had with guests here, it's just clear that it's going to rub off on many things, even beyond River State. I'll give you an example. Somebody said Wiki has told everybody who cares to listen on national television that he doesn't tolerate ungrateful people. Of course, he's talking about Fubara.
Okay.
The man has said agreement is agreement, that Fubara is not honoring agreement. So this guy says, why is Fubara not coming out to debunk Wiki's position, to say, I never entered agreement with you, or I did enter an agreement with you, but this and this and this were the clauses or the terms in those agreements?
It's a matter of personality right now. Wiki has a strong personality.
We need to blame him for that?
We don't need to blame. Well, we're not blaming him for having a strong personality. It is the approach, the manner, the extent he's going with all of this. For me, you have had agreement. As long as you are a human being on earth, you have had agreement with people. And as long as Wiki is concerned, Wiki is no perfect person. He has fallen out of relationships with his benefactors. Up till date, I don't think he's in good terms with Rivers State past governor, which is Rotimi Amechi. And what
people even add Peter Odili to that list.
Exactly, Peter Odili is still on that list. How did they react? Did they do the same thing he's doing right now? Were they more gracious? We see them extending. We've seen Rotimi Amechi quiet over the years. Again, is a thing of personality for me. The fact that you have a strong personality doesn't mean you should. I don't want to use the word bully per se, but it's looking like it at this point. It is looking like it. you go around. It looks like Wike is, at that space or that position, is trying to oppress every single person that is, that was once a rival to him.
But Priscilla, what we say to people who say, who tell us, look, Wike is not different from other past governors. That's whatever he's doing now is a model that governors have used since 2003, 2007. That every governor who leaves office wants to bring in their own person, in some cases a stooge, someone that can be loyal to them, even in some instances subservience to them. So they say, why are we bringing hammer, the sledgehammer in the case of Wike, where we are using something like a hand fan when it comes to other people who are doing the same?
Again, it's the approach Wike is taking about it. He's taking a very strong approach. He's not even allowing...
He's extremely aggressive.
He's extremely aggressive. In all honesty, this you're dealing with a matured person. You're dealing with an adult. You shouldn't take that. You shouldn't treat that person as a child. That's what it's seeming like. We know that these politicians are the same. We've seen them. We've seen this thing happen over and over again. But we've not seen it in this light. Why do we have a state of emergency for an issue that so we've not, like I said, we don't even know what the matter is.
But again, the excuse for that, or the basis for that declaration of a state of emergency that ran for 6 months, is that the court has said there was no governance in Rivers State because the State House of Assembly was not in place. It had been demobilized. So how can you have a government without a State House of Assembly? Even the budget that was passed was not to have gone through due process, given the quorum problem, the fact that you didn't have as many people on that floor as required by law to be able to pass that budget.
This is still politics and power, power tussle.
Don't forget that the House of Assembly was also set ablaze.
Of course, it's still the politics and power tussle. We have, some faction going towards Fubara, other factions towards Wike, and this is what is causing the whole internal crisis in the states. I want to ask, what does Wike want to do with Rivers? Does he want to become a governor a third time? Is it possible under the constitution?
But the man has never been, he has never minced words. He says time and again that he has structures, that these political structures of Rivers States belong to him, and he's not going to watch someone else take those structures off his hands. So the goal is not to become a governor, apparently. The goal is to continue to own, distribute, and midwife those structures.
Wow, that's interesting. So Wike is the first governor of Rivers State that set structures. We've not had governors in Rivers State. It's so sad, honestly. We cannot, I keep saying it time and again, we cannot fold our hands, to this rascal. Well,
let's just answer your question.
We can't fold our hands and just watch this, happen and become a norm in our society. No.
And make it a standard.
It cannot be a standard. It cannot be a standard. There was no war at all in Rivers State. Nothing whatsoever. We just had people disagreeing with each other. One governor, a past governor, disagreeing with the present governor and says he doesn't have he's not meeting up with the agreement. What is the agreement? Don't we have the right to know what the agreement was?
For someone like me, if I were in Rivers State in particular, even though as a Nigerian, I still have the right to know. I would want to patiently wait and give Governor Fubara some more time, even though, like you said, and quite rightly so, time is, this whole thing is long overdue, to see when or how soon he will speak up, because the man says at the right time he will. So that's not the first time he's saying it anyway, but maybe it's just reassurance he's giving. All right, let's take a quick break before Priscilla takes us to Wike's office. When we return from this break, it'll be time to look at the papers and bring you headlines.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Let's dive in straight to the papers. This is the newspaper review segment, and we're starting with the Daily Sun. On Daily Sun, we have our first story saying Constitution Review, Opportunity to Deepen Federalism, Strengthen Institution. And that is coming from Tinubu, our dear president. And the next story, Nigeria loses $18 billion annually to financial crime. Abbas saying that. And the big story here on corruption, U.S. slams visa ban on Nigeria politicians. Wow, interesting. There's a writer there that says fighting corruption knows no border. Okay, do we say this is a good move? Well, let's see how that unfolds. Let's go to the next story here. 2.4 trillion naira. Reps demand details of payment to contractors from AGF. That detail you'll find on page 27 of the Daily Sun. The next story, Apoti Uduagan's trial over alleged cybercrime against Akpabio stalled. You'll find that on page 5. And the next story, court fixes November 29 for hearing on Osun's withheld local government fund. On page 27, you can find that detail. Finally, President and I working closely together. That is coming from the Rivers State Governor Fubara. You want to read up details on page 26 of that paper.
I'm interested in this particular story, the one credited to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas. Yes, you know, this place where he particularly says, let me see what he says now. It says Nigeria loses $18 billion annually to financial crime. Now, if you do the math, even if you say, for example, the exchange rate is 1,500 naira to the dollar, you're looking at about 27 trillion.
Yeah.
So you ask yourself, what is our 2025 budget? It's less than 60 trillion. So you're doing about half of your current budgets. I mean, in terms of the losses to cybercrime. You see, when we just read out figures, I mean, we put out figures.
Yeah.
It sounds great, but these are not things people don't know on the streets. Even regular undergraduates, they know these things. They read up, they look at the statistics. In fact, many of them can crunch the numbers very well. But the question is, what are we doing to plug those holes? Because there are channels through which all of these crimes are perpetrated, either by civil servants, people in the public sector, some consultants here and there.
So is he saying that Nigeria, our federal...
I mean, he's talking about the country.
Our country loses...
Yes, $18 billion to cyber crime.
To Nigerians.
That's what Nigeria loses.
Out there.
Well, that's what we can't account for.
Are we listening to ourselves or listening to...
They're losing it.
We're losing it.
Yes, that's what matters. I mean, if you come from Germany, for example, and German government says this country loses XYZ amounts to cybercrime, for example, to Germans, it's still a loss because it doesn't go to where it's intended to go. And that's why governors have, for example, in this country, been charged for misappropriation. For example, it's a crime to Priscilla for you as a public officer, whether you're elected or appointed, to channel funds, that were intended for, let's say, electronics and electrical appliances into furniture and furnishing.
Yeah.
You can say, did we not use the money after all for the organization or for the agency or for the department? Yes, you did. You didn't steal a kobo. But we agreed, the appropriation stated clearly that these monies should go directly to electronics and electrical appliances. But for reasons best known to maybe the chief executive, they channeled it to furniture and furnishing and things like that. So that one is already a crime on that level, let alone when the money is stolen or taken out outright and things like that. So I've said this to say that we now need to begin to channel our energy towards what are the solutions, practical solutions we can find.
So I have a question with the choice of the word loses. Is it saying we it's due to unforeseen circumstances? Because I have never really heard that Nigeria, or maybe a state budget is being declared, or a parastatal in Nigeria loses money.
No, it's only the public sector. Right? I think it's even largely from the private sector. Yeah. Because we had banks, for example, especially at that point where they declared their what was it called again? PAT, profits after tax, profit before tax, their losses, everything. They clearly, in most instances, mention what they've lost to compromises, which of course includes cyber crimes and all of that. I mean, banks get hacked. Of course, it's not every time they come out to talk about these things. Banks get compromised. People gain unauthorized access into their systems, their central, facilities and all of that. I mean, you find all of those unauthorized intrusion every now and then. It happens. So when you aggregate all of these, you realize that the losses sometimes may not even be in terms of money. They can be in terms of there's something called, I think it's called deliberate denial of service, where, for example, a portal that is supposed to provide very vital service to members of the public is left redundant for 24, 48 hours, sometimes for 1 week. So you want to ask yourself, what would that organization or that agency have lost for that period when its website or its portal wasn't functional? So you aggregate that as well, and by the time you know it, speak out past is telling you are losing $18 billion.
Cybercrime. It's clearly talking about cybercrime. Exactly.
Yeah, this is also cybercrime. I mean, if you go to, God forbid a million times, you go to shut down JAM portal, all right, and prospective candidates can register for, say, a 2-3 day period. Our question is how much is JAM losing? Because whether you like it or not, there is a revenue generation element in JAM's mandates, especially since the new Professor Ishaq Oloye, they took over. I mean, Emahu has brought so much of reforms and all of that. So that's just for JAM. How about private sector organizations where, I mean, we saw one time where even the FCC websites had that kind of thing as well.
I remember that.
It was all over the place. So we are saying all of this to say that we should channel our energy into finding solutions.
Exactly. Well, I agree with you, and I would want to really read up that detail to know exactly what the loss is about.
Yes. Well, you can read it up. Incidentally, it's a cover story. You can find it on the front page of the Daily Sun this morning. Well, go read all those details, even from the other headlines. Let's now turn it over to the Guardian newspaper for you. We'll begin with the headlines immediately beneath the name mast. Yes, top right corner. What it says: Nigeria's democracy faces collapse without INEC reforms, Bugaje warns. Nigeria's economy posts 4.23% growth in second quarter, outperforms projections. Well, that's great. Fubara declares peace with Wike after meeting Tinubu. Hopefully Priscilla is listening to that. And then the Star story: 24 states backpedal on electricity decentralization over tariff debt risks. And then you have infographics here talking about electricity markets updates, as Guardian always does. You can read that up for deeper insights into the crux of the story. Enroll children in schools or serve jail term, Gombe government tells parents.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, as a mother, this excites you, doesn't it?
It does, but then we shouldn't be hearing enroll children in school. We should be seeing structures for education, free education. That is what we should be seeing from the governor, not threatening parents.
But you've not been to Gombe State, I assume, so you have no idea what the government could have or may have already done there to have, led them saying, look, I mean, you've got to send your children to school because you don't have an excuse anymore. We have the buildings, we have the infrastructure, we have the teachers, we have the vital resources.
If that's
so what's your excuse?
Yeah, if that's the ground for which he's saying that, then I mean, they need to be arrested indeed.
A good thing is you cover education for us, so maybe we can send you to Gombe to do a special report on this, something more like a mini documentary.
No, we have on the internet, you can have everything.
All right, great. Government kill Benue APC chieftain, abducts district head in Plateau. That sad story has his details on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper. Here, a picture of the former sole administrator of Rivers State, Ibas, tells us Rivers stakeholders call for probe of Ibasi's 6-month administration. Will Governor Fubara make that move? Will he toe that path? Let's see. Natasha's trial stalls as women groups petition United Nations. Read up the details on page 30 as well. Constitution alteration. Tinubu Akpabio Abbas declares support for women's reserved seats bill. Tension in Edo local governments as acting chairman receive impeachment notices. Well, some persons will say we saw this coming. Please go read up details from The Guardian today so you can be clear on the direction of all of these stories. Priscilla will walk us through the Daily Times newspaper now.
All right, on the Daily Times newspaper, the first story, top the paper there, we have 700,000 out of school Gombe government tells jail. Okay, I take that again. 700,000 out of school. Gombe government tells jail parents for failure to enroll children. Again, I say, I hope the structures have been put in place. We'll find out that. But you can read up details on page 2 for that story. The next story, emergency rule, timely intervention, says Fubara after visiting Tinubu. That's funny there. Well, everything is possible. You can find out more by reading page 2 of that story of the Daily Times paper. Let's go to the big story here that says no visa for corrupt Nigerian officials, and that is the U.S. government warning. Yeah.
You know, when I saw this in the wee hours of today, Priscilla, and the first question I asked myself was, I mean, you know, you think in languages in your head. So in my head, I was thinking in pidgin.
Wow.
I said, how many una will fix up? Because if you say no visas for corrupt Nigerian officials, and then you're asking, do you have a net wide enough? But the question is, are we supposed to be threatened by any country, including the U.S., with visa issuance or something? Will the U.S. say that to some certain countries as well? Can the U.S. say that to Singapore, for example? Will the U.S. say that to Brazil, for instance? Will the U.S. be saying that to Taiwan or to China? Will the U.S. say that to Qatar or the United Arab Emirates? By the way, UAE discovered oil around the same time as Nigeria. As a lecturer, I was asked in my class as an undergraduate, what has your country done with oil money? And we have not been able to give him an answer till today. So, if the U.S. is telling us they will not give visas to corrupt Nigerians or corrupt Nigerian leaders or corrupt Nigerian politicians, the question is on what basis they reach that conclusion. And as they say, he who must come to equity must come with clean hands. And my people say it is because a wall has fallen that a small goat can climb over it.
I think this is good riddance to bad rubbish. Our government officials, our leaders keep misrepresenting us. They keep falling our hand. I mean, what do you expect? What do you expect? When I see things like this, it is, them getting what they deserve. Because
but it's not just about these few individuals, it's also about the image of the country, because by extension it rubs off on you and me.
It again boils down to what I'm saying. They are misrepresenting us. They are the ones that they get.
So we are in this together.
We're in this together. Right. The day we decide to, it's still in our hands, even if it's not totally in our hands, because the INEC has not given us the reform we seek. You get, but at the end of the day, we need to just look for a way to get better leaders to represent us globally. Else, we'll keep facing such embarrassment.
Wait for 2027, I must say.
Yeah, so let's go to the next story here that says Uber contributes 34 billion naira to Nigeria's economy, and that is from a report. On page 8, it says Tinubu reaffirms commitment to constitutional reforms, and that's on page 8. On page 6, submits payment records of contractors. Reps tell accountant general. NLNG's $10 billion train 7 project resumes after workers' protests end. We have 68 inmates excel in 2025 NECO exams in Kano, and that's coming from COS, and you'll find details on page 13 of that paper. Read up details of all the stories on the Daily Times to get more informed. Let's go to the next story, which is the next paper, which is Nigerian Tribune.
All right, sir. Let's begin with the headlines above the nameplates now. Top left corner, it says here, senators divided over Natasha's resumption. All right. Then it has a rider. Her trial on alleged cyber crime against Akpabio stored rescheduled for October 20. That's almost in a month's time. Nigeria's GDP expands by 4.23% in first quarter 2025 as oil industry drive growth. And then the Star headline, Tinubu Fubara in father-son discussion in Aso Rock. Priscilla chuckled when she heard that, but it's okay. The writer says, Governor seeks guidance on how to avoid further crisis in rivers. Once beaten, twice shy. Restates peace with Wiki. Bodies of 8 missing policemen recovered in Benue as government kill APC chieftain. Quite a sad story, the details of which are on page 26. 4% FOB levy. LCCI expresses concerns over enforcement despite federal government's suspension, calls for policy clarity. And then we have a bit of health info here. Inhaling marijuana increases risk for asthma attacks by 44%. That's on page 5. This is quite significant, 44%. Now, it didn't say if you use or if you're the one smoking it, but it says if you inhale. So you don't want to be close to someone inhaling. All right. The U.S. threatens visa ban on corrupt Nigerian leaders. Nigeria loses $18 billion to financial crimes yearly. Abbas court fixes September 29 to hear Osun governor's motion on withheld local government funds. That has been an issue that's been here for a while, but today it has obviously turned into a subject of litigation. Our next port of call is the Nation newspaper. Please let's allow Priscilla to walk us through.
All right, thank you very much. So the first story here would be House pushes for State Police Council autonomy. Others. That is on page 3 of the Nation paper. The next story, all agri industries drive GDP's 4.23% growth. And why do we have just 4.23% growth on oil and agric?
Well, I think I was expecting you to be a bit jumpy about this. I mean, glad, because at the point we're doing 2%, later the pendulum was swinging between 2 and 3%. But we've been told by experts that Nigeria must work towards a minimum of 6% growth if we have to come at least an inch close to $1 trillion economy targets for 2030. So it's quite a complicated and at the same time dicey conversation. Maybe economists will enlighten us better on this.
Okay. While we wait for an economist, let's go to the next story, which is El Rufai's life president claim absurd, says presidency. Are we talking about Tinubu? That's the next rider. Court fixes Monday to hear case on withheld Osun Council for another big story. Is on Fubara, and he's saying, I have made peace with Wiki. You find that on page 2. There is an appreciation and a goodwill message there with a picture. You want to read up every detail by getting yourself a copy of the Nation paper. Let's go to the next story and paper, which is the Daily Trust, and how will you take us through that?
All right, we'll begin with the Star headline. Here as a kicker on the Daily Trust. Parliament Women's Seats Bill gains ground. DSS interrogates Malami over attack on his convoy. FCTA clears kidnappers' hideouts in Abuja. Yeah, we have that story where the Development Control Department led by Mukhtar Galadima, all right, so was busy felling trees. You know, I thought about it this morning because I was in the news incidentally, and one of the first things that crossed my mind was that, look, this is a dilemma. A dilemma in the sense that we're supposed to be living in a time where the efforts are geared towards planting trees, giving ourselves targets to say between now and such time we have to plant a specific number of trees. Instead, we are felling trees, all right? In an era where we're talking about climate change, we're talking about going green, and things like that. But, on the flip side, you realize that it's a case of sheer necessity. You're not dealing, if you're dealing with the magnitude of crimes, kidnapping in particular, that as we have in this part of the country in particular, who are you not to fell trees? So it's almost like between the rock and the hard place.
True.
All right, so let's go wrap it up on the Daily Trust newspaper for you now. Dembele, Bomati crowned 2025 Ballon d'Or Awards. So for all you who've been a bit itchy about who would emerge to clinch the Ballon d'Or, you know better now. Benue attack consists of 8 missing policemen recovered. You can find those details on page 5 of the Daily Trust newspaper. Next port of call is the Vanguard newspaper.
Okay, the Vanguard paper. State of the Nation, why we can't return to regionalism, and that's coming from Tanko Yakasa. You'll find that on page 14. Just below the nameplate, you have procurement. Federal government rejects U.S. report alleging lack of transparency. There are 2 riders there. The first one says, AUGF fails to provide substantive report on budget execution. And the next rider says, report not true. That's coming from the federal government. Read up page 5 for details on that story. We still have a picture story there with an appreciation and goodwill message. That is what we have on the Vanguard paper. Finally, we go to Punch.
Oh, okay. So then I would have loved to go to Punch, but challenge now is we're quite out of time. We're just going to say again, as always, go read up these details for yourself and be sure that you are able to stay ahead of the news. Global Television does not contribute to these papers, whether the headlines or their details. All we do for you is just to present them as published by their respective publishers. After this break, Ogochukwu Mobono will be in front of you.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Good morning, the Global Morning crew, and good morning to you, my viewers. I am August Mobner. It's another day to look at what's buzzing on the internet. I know that the internet always have stories for all of us. And this morning, we're going to be talking about a National Union of Road Transport Workers who beat a dispatch rider to death in Lagos State. The Lagos State Police Command has arrested a senior member of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Shamushidin Adio, for allegedly beating a dispatch rider to death on Tapa Street, Lagos Island. Witnesses said the incident occurred on Wednesday after a minor clash between Adio and the rider, who was accused of scratching his vehicle. The altercation quickly escalated, with Adio reportedly joined by some colleagues to assault the victim until he collapsed. A journalist at the scene, Chris Nwando, who shared footage of the incident on social media, described Adio as notorious for violent attacks on tricycle operators in the area. He also alleged that just days earlier, the suspect had also assaulted another operator who was later hospitalized. Well, police sources confirmed that the rider died from injuries sustained in the attack. The victim died from the beating and suspect has since been arrested. He is currently being held at the State Criminal Investigation Department, one source disclosed. Well, I would like us to take a quick look at the video. This is indeed a disheartening video, and you know what even is more thrilling is that people were seen in the scene working and doing their own, going about their business, and no one was saying anything about it. The only thing they could do was take up their phone and make a video out of it. So is it that this person is above the law? Is it that this person cannot be curtailed, no one is there to hold this man till he kills someone? This is really a bad one, honestly. We're going to be taking comments from social media as regards this topic, and the first comment is coming from Nelson Collins. And Nelson says he won't spend a night in detention, nor will he be charged to court. Is the mandate he stands that gave him such impetus? What mandate is Nelson Collins trying to say here? Okay, the next comment is coming from USAP FAC, and it says he should be charged for murder, malice, aforethought, intent to kill or cause grievous bodily harm. Nothing less than a sentence 25 years or life imprisonment. The trial must be televised till his sentencing to serve as an example to others who told on the same path. I support that. All right, the third comment is coming from Olumide. Olumide says, NURTW looks like a Togri association and the best bet is for it to be scrapped. Yes, scrapped. If they cannot automate their processes, they should not disturb the other road users. Well, the last comment for this topic is coming from Ota, and Ota says, the only way he can be pardoned is if he brings the dispatch rider back to life. If he cannot bring the dispatch rider back to life, then he should face the dispatch riders, what the dispatch rider faced. Am I saying your mind? Ota, you're saying your own mind. But anyways, your opinion is valid. Well, I'm not alone today in the studio. I have with me Priscilla Obasi. Good morning, Priscilla.
Good morning, Ogochukwu.
You sound so tired. What happened?
I'm just devastated.
You
are devastated watching
okay.
what I just watched now. I mean, is this not a zoo country? What do you call such a thing? People passing by. Is it until it happens to our brother, someone close to us, that would come out and stop this kind of thing? Again, I don't blame Nigerians. Somehow it looks like we have been handcuffed. We cannot say, we cannot really do anything about these things. Why do we have an NURTW official coming out to do such a thing? It has not been, like someone commented there, mandated. Because it looks like this is part of their criteria. You need to be a thug, you need to be, you understand, you cannot be sane, you cannot be civil. Is it
to be a member?
To be a member. It's looking like it, honestly. If you look at most of their members, they are like this. Why? Can't we have responsible people coming to work for this, what do I call them, an association, or I don't know. But this is really sad, and this guy has to face, the law. He has to be penalized for this thing. How do you comfortably take another person's life for a minor issue as that? He scratched your car. You see this guy stopping. I don't know if they are all under the same association, those ones that stop people on the roadside, for not even last month. The same NURT guys, but those they have different factions. They call some of them Abiros. I don't know how they function. I don't know how they come. How do you form? It's really annoying at this point. It's not funny, honestly. It's not funny. If you see how this guy messed people up, on the road, for no just reason, just for their funny daily bread tickets. Do you understand? For their funny daily bread, something that is not remitted to the right authorities. I don't even know, how transparent that association is, but I mean, they are overdoing, and it has to just stop. We need activists to come out and talk about these things, honestly.
To say that earlier, before this other incident, he had already beaten someone also, and the person is currently in the hospital, and no arrest was done. So that gave him the impetus to actually carry out more until right now that he has killed someone. And the thing is, a lot of people, when you check the comment section, when you go through it, a lot of people do not believe in judgments anymore. They don't believe that our judiciary system is going to carry out the right thing, the right decision will be made as to, this particular kind of incident. Because the punishment or the penalty given to this kind of person should be facing the crime, maybe life imprisonment or death. Because you cannot take a life and just serve few years in prison. It's not possible. We currently are hearing of a notorious, armed robber who has been disturbing Lagos. Went to prison for just few years and he's out, and he still continued that same crime. So I think there should be a better crime to make them know that, better punishment, I beg your pardon, to make them know that, okay, this thing you have done is really a heinous crime and you have to face, you know, the punishments, honestly.
Absolutely, absolutely, I agree with you. We call on our dear president, to call on every, you know, of the authorities to come and look into this matter. This is not funny in any way. It should not be condoned, it should not be neglected, it should not be looked over. No, we have to get to the end of this. And like someone mentioned in the comment, it needs to be televised, also learn from it.
Another question is, what is the process to recruiting these people? What exactly is the process? We need to know the process. We cannot be recruiting thugs to handle this kind of, you know, this body, you know, is a very vital one. Or else, like someone also said in the comment section, you're going to be disturbing road users. So we need to know the process and know the kind of people that are hired for this kind of job. Anyway, thank you so much, Priscilla. This is all we have today on Social Buzz of Global Morning. I am Ogochukwu as Global Morning continues.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
The Palestinian conversation has been here for a very long time. As a matter of fact, with this Gaza issue that we have seen, I mean, all of the, if you like, escalating crisis that is in Gaza, the calls for a two-state solution has become even louder, because for many analysts and political stakeholders across the world, that is the ultimate resolution that can put this whole matter to bed. But the question is, are we on the verge of seeing that happen now, especially when you look at what we are seeing with a couple of nations in the last few weeks, starting with Canada, then we saw Australia, we've heard from France, the most recent being the United Kingdom, saying that they have now formally recognized the state of Palestine. But that becomes very interesting because the United Nations General Assembly has just started this week in New York, and by the way, we have our Vice President Kashim Shettima there representing his principal, President Bola Tinubu. Now, this year's edition of the UNGA, that is the United Nations General Assembly, is seen by many as one that will revolve almost 100% about the Palestinian case. But whatever that may be, I mean, regardless of how it turns out, is it possible to have this two-state solution? Will this recognition of a Palestinian state by these nations see the light of day if, with a big if, the United States does not throw its weight behind it? Of course, we know what the U.S. position has been as far as this issue is concerned. I'm joined this morning by our in-house analyst, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, to help us see what exactly is unfolding right in our eyes. Prof, thank you for coming on the program.
Yeah, good morning.
I'd like us to begin with these announcements by different countries, especially across Europe, announcing one at a time their recognition of a state of Palestine. Did it come to you as a shock at all, or it was something you have long expected?
No, it never come to me as a shock, because there was a depriving factor all over the years that has stopped them to recognize the state of Palestine, even at the time of Arafat.
Right.
Good enough, I think they are coming to bear this thought because of some other internal crisis that has taken place over time right now. Apart from these, people are getting aware of the schemes of the people. It's for a long time now. So that schemes and the challenges security has actually brought about them adjusting to accept the state of Palestine, whatever. The security challenges, the crisis that has emanated from most conflicts all over the world, and knowing that the Israelis that they are protecting are actually not the original Israelis, but settlers, has come to see that the economic dimension, gain and profit and political maglings that were happening within the Israel is no longer as profitable to some nations as it used to be. That is the stage in which some of them has to adjust to fit into the process and the cry of the people of Palestine. That is where we are as at now.
I spoke with an academic a little over a month ago, and he told me that all of these announcements will amount to nothing ultimately, because he said it's a bargaining chip that these countries are only pushing because of the tariffs, the neck-breaking tariffs, I probably should say, that President Trump is imposing on them. Isn't it just a political agenda to serve the interest of a few nations as against actually and genuinely pushing the interest of the Palestinian people?
Well, I don't want to disagree, and I also don't want to agree with some such assumption, because the posting of the position of tax by Donald Trump will not have changed anything entirely. The position of tax is different. What palliative would Palestine or Israel offer them? As far as there is no palliative that Israel or Palestine will offer them, it becomes a non-issue. You have to say, okay, because the United States of America has imposed some certain tax and levy on the people, we are going to get some rebate from Palestine or Israel. So we want to actually go to Palestine,
right,
since they are giving us more better leverage. So is it technology that Palestine is going to offer to the world? Is it science? Is it engineering? Is it production, or what? So as far as Palestine is not going to offer that to the world, I don't think we have to look at it as another game. So it is not a political jingle.
All right, let's talk about what is, what we are likely going to be expecting now at the, of course, you and I know, Prof, that the United Nations General Assembly for this year is on. We have seen Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian people, come to this same platform, the UNGA, almost every other year to talk about this issue. People say he took it over from where the former leader, Arafat, that you mentioned a while ago, left off. He has talked about this severally. Do you see these years' debates and all of the, if you like, conversations and engagements centering around the Palestinian issue?
Well, I don't think that was one of the agendas of the United Nations General Assembly, but it can be brought up, and even when it is brought up, there's going to be a draw line. An United States of America will vehemently reject any submission made by the Palestinians. So if they are going to vehemently oppose any submission, then some other link nations out of fiat or political affiliation will also not support Palestine if America has opposed, and definitely America is going to oppose.
What's the implication if America opposes? Will it still fly, regardless of the fact that we have a bunch of nations now throwing their weight behind the Palestinians?
Yeah, you know, normally UK, for example, and some other Europe-granted nations will also stand behind Palestine. But then the standing will it echo well, knowing that the house now is divided among the G7, G9, G15 and the rest. So these people has a kind of synergy that other people don't have, and all those nations are now regarded in the United Nations General Assembly as the weak nations, which every other African country is among the weak nations. A larger percentage of the countries in Asia are the weak nation. If you go back to the other arms of the continents, there are also a lot of them are very weak nation. The only country that is a bit recognized is Australia. So you come back to Europe. Even in Europe, we have also the weak nations that they don't take, or they take for granted. So except these weak nations becomes a storyline and join the thread of things as a fox, they are still going to be placed where they are. That is just the issue with American. A lot of people has taken America as the lion of the people, and if they take them as the lion of the people, everybody wants to, in the absence of the lion, you you take a stroll. When you see the lion, you want to align with rules or push forward. That is where we are.
When you look at all the indices, I mean, all the indications, all of the elements you have seen, the journey so far, do you see this state of Palestine working at this point? Do you see it becoming a reality?
Yes, it can only be a reality if one factor is put in place. If they have been able to define the rules, then they define the rules and they define the obligations and they defined the settings of the Palestine and Israel, then there is going to be a global peace. But as far as there is a deprivation and no rules or laws are put in place, no conflict resolution, no peace and crisis resolution, then there is still going to be a lot of problem. Because why is it so? They are benefiting from the science, engineering and technology of Israel. And who profit more from the science, engineering and technology of Israel is American. So American, knowing that some trillions of dollars comes out of Israel every year to them, scientifically, in engineering and technology, they are not ready to resolve the issues.
Let's look at a few other factors now, Prof, before we take a break. If you look at the Palestinian issue, it has been complicated over the years. We need to have a two-state solution. That's the ultimate resolution we can find to this problem. But now, a war, if you like, broke out between the Israelis and the Palestinians, which of course some people have said is not actually between the Israeli government and the Palestine government. It has actually been between Israel and Hamas. Does Hamas complicate this further? Because during this negotiation of truce and ceasefire and what have you, there was the very extensive talk about how that Hamas needs to leave Israel, because leave Gaza, because Israel has said time and again that the reason it keeps bombarding Gaza is that it wants to ensure it flushes out every element of Hamas. Is it possible to extricate Hamas from the picture?
Sometimes when people talk about Hamas and Israel, and that is the excuse Israel used to bombard the Palestinians, I just laugh over it. Who are the Hamas? Who weaponized them? Who trained them? Who financed them? It's like when American told us of Al-Qaeda, which we know were actually a puppet and baby of the Americans. The same thing, the Hamas. To extension, what we are seeing here that we call the Boko Harams are all attitudes of Americans. So what is America telling us?
So you're saying that what goes around comes around?
Yeah, Hamas is just an attitude of America, financed by them, actually financed by them, trained by them, weaponized by them. There is no denial about that, and they know it. So that is why Hamas cannot amass Israel. They tell them the targeted point where they can go to, and from there the Israeli army will come in and push them out and face the Palestinians. Why America is at that point stealing. So unless the intelligent gateway, even in Nigeria, everybody knows that America, all intelligent group on security and the rest knows that America intruded into our crisis. So they go to where America goes to where they benefit. It is an issue of gains and profits. So when deliberations goes to the table and negotiations are not working in American favor, they come up with the principles of contempt. So because they won't go below exploitation. So when they want to exploit you, they use any tactics to exploit.
As it stands today, people have said, well, let's have a two-state solution and move on. Israel doesn't support that, evidently. What do you reckon could be the reason Israel is not aligned with the calls for a two-state solution?
Yeah, they will not allow it because Israel is another chapter of themselves.
Another chapter of themselves?
Yes. So I am a settler and I've taken possession of some part of Abuja, for example. Are you not asking me to have a two-state solution when I feel that if I don't discuss my position now, history will throw me out? So definitely I will not accept a two-state solution, because the present people in Israel that we call the Israelites are actually settlers, not the real Israelites.
Not the ones from the diaspora that returned back?
They were not in the diaspora that returned back. They are pure settlers.
So they are not organically Israelites or Israelites?
No, they are not.
Yeah, I think that's a historical perspective that many persons probably are not very clear on, or do not even have the slightest idea about, quite frankly. But again, there are those who have said that at this point, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has become an albatross in this war. That if you had a different Prime Minister, perhaps one who is a bit more cool-headed, level-headed, maybe more on the side of reasoning, this issue would have been resolved. But the PM, Netanyahu, has insisted that Hamas must unconditionally release all the hostages it's holding. Is that a fair argument?
If you said Hamas should release the hostages they are holding, how many people are Israel holding as hostages?
From the Palestinian side?
Yes. So if you are going to play a game of chess, you have to know who is the king, the queen, the knight, and the rest. So the politics between Hamas, as I said, and Israel is being determined by Americans. Benjamin living not as president of Israel today, or he left as a president of Israel today, anybody taking over must play that game. So if that game don't have any level-headed way, it is a conflict and has to be resolved by the entire people. So we go back to history, knowing that, just as I said, knowing that you are a settler, what will you do? It is just like in Nigeria today. Well, let me use the Benin Kingdom and the Ife Kingdom and the Oduduwa story coming back. Today, the Isha man will tell you he migrated from Benin. You understand me?
Right.
So if you migrated from Benin, was that land fallow? The land was not fallow. That means that there were people there, you understand me,
right,
before you migrated. Some part of the Yoruba land says that they migrated from Benin. So you now start asking yourself a question. You are not speaking the real Benin language as an Isha man. So how did you migrate from Benin? You are not speaking, as an Orobo man, you are not speaking the real Benin language. So how did you migrate from Benin? You understand me? Meaning that there was a language, there were settlers, and you are settlers, and you are imposing yourself on the people. So going down history, you understand me, there is a lot of narratives that we are not telling ourselves.
Okay, well, maybe we're going to dig into some of those narratives within the next few minutes, but we want to take a break. When we return, we'll look at all the efforts that have been put into negotiations the last 1 year and counting regarding the conflict between Israel and Hamas and what may happen in this regard going forward. All right, let's turn to a different strand in this conversation. Prof, we have seen the neighbors within the region. I mean, countries like Egypt, we've seen Qatar, for example, a number of them, all right, weigh in on this issue, trying to negotiate, trying to broker peace, calling for truce. At least let's have ceasefire. That way we can have, if you like, an ample window for negotiations and maybe to lay all our issues on the table and things like that. As it stands today, have those efforts borne any fruits at all?
Very well. When you call for negotiation, what are the pillars of negotiation? What did you set in? What are the key points of negotiation? Because no country, no nation is going to negotiate from a weak point.
Right.
So when you are calling for negotiation, when we say negotiation, it's one of the security parameters under political security. So as a nation like Nigeria, negotiating, we have a negotiation with Cameroon where we concede Bakassi to Cameroon. If you are going to negotiate, are you going to negotiate from your weak point? I'm not discussing the issue of Bakassi here, even as we negotiated from a very weak point.
We did, right?
Yes.
And someone like you probably blame former President Olusegun Obasanjo, or don't you?
Yes, I did. So when you negotiate from a weak point, you now have a lot of problems because you did not carry the nation along at the point of your negotiation. You signed documents that are not supposed to be endorsed in any way, because so there must be a blueprint for negotiation. Negotiation has to follow rules and policies gathered in principles of negotiation. So what are the basis of negotiation? If I'm going to cease this to you, what is my benefit of ceasing, and why am I ceasing it to you? So what do I have as my reserve game? Because if these are not drawn down as the basic concept of negotiation, then you are negotiating from a very weak point. And the other person will take due advantage of that.
Due advantage, not undue advantage.
No, due advantage of that, not undue advantage. I don't want to call it undue advantage, because when you say undue advantage, you are already concealing to every principle and concept. But it's due advantage of that because what you don't have, you are taking. What you are not entitled to, you are taking. So it's due advantage because you are already hand twisted. So don't negotiate. Just take it that you have 1B, A, B, C, D to yourself.
So who is negotiating from a place of weakness now? Is it Israel or Hamas?
Hamas is not the state of Palestine.
But how is it that Israel continues to pay more attention, far more attention to Hamas than the state of Palestine?
It's just like today, when you ask the Office of the National Security Advisor, what are the challenges of our security today? And they are telling you the bandits. So at what point do we have any problem with the bandits?
So it's exactly the same thing, sir, because in the case of Israel, I mean, this Gaza conflict, we are made to believe that Hamas is the armed wing of the state of Palestine.
No. The Palestinians have their own army. So how can they be the armed wing of the Palestinians? What we are just painting is just what I've told you. You asked the Office of the National Security Advisor what is the issues with our security problems, and they will tell you the bandits. So when the bandits come here now and say we have a conflict with Niger, and the bandits are going to negotiate with Niger with us when we have the federal government?
But again, we can't put them side by side, because even the Palestinian people and the government there have never denounced Hamas. They have never had a problem with what Hamas does, for example.
Have we denied the bandits?
Of course, we have been fighting them. We have spoken out against them unequivocally on many platforms from several
quarters. Have you seen any Hamas chief on national TV in Palestine talking of negotiation?
So why is the Palestinian leader, I mean Mahmoud Abbas in particular, not making the position clear as to what role Hamas plays in his government?
You see, there is one thing you are not understanding here. There is what we call security and the press, which part of it is propaganda. How many propaganda machineries or system do Palestine have? Who wants to listen to the Palestine in the terms of things in the network internationally? This is what you have to understand. Here we have a lot of propaganda machines, both private and government owned, or the state owned, and that of the individuals. There, no one. Has anybody tuned to Radio Palestine or Palestine TV to watch their program and their process? No. So they are only feeling the weight because of some interest groups. We can hear the voice of Palestine today because of some other interest group, which is like United Arab Emirates, like Qatar, like Iraq, like Iran, and others, neighboring countries like Turkey and the rest. If not, nobody would have listened to Palestine any day. Palestine by now will have been silent. So, when you say the Hamas, I have said, are being financed. I'm saying it without any atom of apology. Are being financed, trained, and weaponized by the United States of America. And we all know that Israel too are also a brainchild of America. So what are we talking about?
I'm going to ask you this question with a big if. If the United States were to align with these other nations now calling for, who have now recognized the state of Palestine, what option does that leave the Israeli people, the Israeli government?
The principle of concept or the rules of engagement, American will only go back to the drawing board with Israel to know how to put these things at bay. It is an issue of a key player and a lower player. So do we have any way to negotiate with these other countries, and what do we put on the table for them? Because it is one thing to accept, and it is one thing to make a principal rule for the people. So if they have accepted to say the state of Palestine must be recognized, it is not yet documented. So before the time of documentation, could there be any renegotiation? The answer is yes.
How complicated would that process be? Because it appears we're just scratching the surface at this point.
There is no complication. The whole nations, the whole world is being ruled by principles, policies, and concepts, and it's being ruled by negotiation. So we are all talking of, when we are not talking of security economy, then what are you bringing down to the table, and how does it benefit my country? So if there is a benefit, am I entitled to those benefits? And what are the implications? What are the risk index? So when we are looking at the implications and the risk index, then we can follow up to see whether they negatively affect us or they positively affect us. So if they are positively affecting us, then there is no way that we are not going to give way to the practice.
All right, let's wrap it up.
So it is what American and Israel is going to put down to negotiate with France, Germany, UK, and other interest nations that is going to form the policy concept.
In the event that this recognition goes through, I mean, the state of Palestine comes to fruition, how much work will that government need to do? I mean, you and I are not ignorant, Prof, of the carnage, maybe that's the most appropriate word, that has been done, all right, in Gaza right now. That's not going to, I mean, the turnaround time is not going to be over one weekend, for example. Talk to us about the magnitude of damage that has been done and the amount of work needed to fix it.
Let me tell you this. Yeah, reconstruction, reintegration, and everything going to the economy and everything. But what Israelis don't understand is the resources that the Palestinians have that they have not recognized themselves. They have not discovered. But by the time the Palestinians discover it, I think the turnaround time will be very short. But if they don't discover what they have, then it's going to be a complex issue for them. But one of the grace they have, or one of the services of time they have, is the services of the neighboring nations who will come to their aids
at that point in time.
At that point in time. So if they are able to come to their aids at that point in time, it's going to be of great service to the Palestinians. And if they discover what they have in them, it will also be of benefit, and it's going to profit them. It's going to gain. They are going to gain from it.
Thank you so very much, Professor Ibrahim Abubakar, for coming to talk to us about this issue today. Global Television will continue to monitor proceedings at the United Nations General Assembly, which has started just a few days ago at the United Nations headquarters in New York, and our own dear Vice President Kashif Shettima is there on behalf of President Bola Tinubu. We'll continue to give you beat by beat updates as to what the developments are and how they reverberates across the world and, of course, including here in Nigeria. We'll take a quick break now. When we return, Priscilla Obasi will engage our next guest on youth activism and its impact on strengthening democracy in a country like Nigeria. Please don't go away.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
All right, welcome back. On this second segment of Global Money, we focused on a very crucial conversation for our nation, and that is on national development. We're talking about aligning youth activism with Nigeria's democracy. Now, from the NSAS movement to strong voices we have in the society right now, voices like the Showore, we have the VDM, we have Peter Randy, who is championing the INEC electoral reform, and many other Nigerian youth, are increasingly becoming the conscience of the nation. But the question remains, is youth activism simply about protest, or can it truly be aligned to build a stronger democracy and build a better Nigeria? That's why we are having this conversation this morning. And joining me to unpack this conversation is Robert Ubede. He is the AMAC youth leader under the APC party. You get to see him just after this break. Please stay with us. All right, like I said, we have Robert Ubede, the AMAC youth leader on the APC party, to join me on the conversation on youth activism, aligning youth activism with national development. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Priska, for having me in the studio.
Okay, so
and good morning, Nigeria.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here today with us. Let's start with your journey into politics. Can you just give us a brief summary of your journey into politics?
Good morning, fellow Nigerians. Good morning, FCT. Good morning, the AMAC Youth Constituency, which is my constituency. Just like from the introduction, my name is Robert Ashubide. I'm the AMAC APC Youth Leader. And the issue of discussion is an issue that always delights me. Always is delightful to me to always express myself, and it's something I'm passionate about. And activism in Nigeria and in its entirety means the practice of bringing change or implanting change in our society. It could be political, it could be economical, it could be environmental. I'm a bit of social activism.
Okay.
My involvement in politics is by me having coming out to speak for a constituency that has been neglected for a very long time.
And which is
the youth constituency.
Okay.
We grew up knowing that he's saying that the youth are leading tomorrow. But we are here, we are growing older, we will not attain that leadership. So we said, if our voice is docile and is not hard, we cannot attain that leadership position that can impact change. And that was how I joined active politics. And having been a politician for some time now, I've seen different type of uprising that people seems to call activism. To me, in the constituency, those things are agitations.
Okay.
So, and agitations are carried out by individual agitators. Just the names you just mentioned, most of them could be classified as activists that are championing a cause, maybe a social cause or an economic cause, or championing a cause of inequality or injustice in society. And that is where I come in, being a politician, leading the youth and the young women. What I do mostly is political activism.
Okay.
I do mostly political activism.
Okay.
And in the sense that I lobby government, to hold the responsible in areas that which our laws are really made clear on what to do or what to do, lobbying them to impart to bring change to my own constituency, and informing them on reforms that could be done that could align with the youth vision and the youth mandate of a certain government at a particular time.
Okay, so in your opinion, what is the difference between activism that builds democracy and activism that destabilizes it?
The difference in the sense that activism builds democracy, no doubt. Because if your voice is not heard and you're docile in your behavior, we cannot hold our leaders responsible. So activism in that sense is an area in a democracy that have really brought enormous change to society. Because if our leaders are not intentional and we voted them to be to office, we should be able to hold them accountable to the campaign promises they've given us. That's why some of us that are political activism will keep on reminding them, telling them that you said this, you said A, you said B, but we're seeing Z, we're seeing Y, we're seeing Y, we're seeing Z. Why is it this way? What is happening? Please talk to us. We want to be carried along. And that is what gives birth to agitation. Because if you're passionate about something and you're not getting results, you need to be agitated. And when this happens, it now galvanizes more voices, which is now that leads to revolution or that leads to protests. Protests in politics and in democracy can go pursue. You cannot take protests, cannot take youth agitation from democracy. That's why I said we as politicians, we hold our possible to their words, and we give advices and give reforms that can be reforms that can be made that could make our society a better place.
Okay, so you have mentioned agitators, you have mentioned activists. Are there activists or maybe agitators, according to your definition, that are, stalling democracy?
Well,
that are hindering it?
No. What the agitators agitators are doing is not stalling democracy.
So is it?
It's giving life.
Is it a political thing? Do you think it's political? Activism right now is political. For example, now we have the likes of Showeri that have been described as fearless, but somehow controversial. We've seen his confrontational approach, and do you think it works in Nigeria political space? Are we having activists now that are politically or that are sent by political individuals, or is it still on a neutral note? Are these people just coming out on their own to do stuff? Do you think it has been politicized in any way?
No, what Showeri is doing is commendable.
Okay.
Because we should have those kind of voices even in a decade. If not, democracy will not attain its real value or givens in our society. Before Showeri, there was Ganifa Yemi that was using the instrument of constitutional law to go about carrying out social justices and bringing about equality using our constitution. So I would so those like Showeri are needed in a political representation. And if there was no issue today, some kind of revelations that we have been having of our leaders will not be so. Because we the voice, it's not just only that is fearless. Even with some extent and fearless. We have some of us in FCT and in university and even in AMAC in particular that have come out to speak on issues and with better results. So someone is championing the cause that is galvanizing more youth and creating more awareness that if we don't stand against our leaders that are intentional to bring about the development of democracy, this democracy may become something different from what it ought to be.
Some people have called these activists content creators in this social media era. You see a lot of them, doing activism on social media space. Do you think it is content creation indeed?
What drives most of the youth residents and activism in Nigeria is hunger and unemployment.
Okay.
So you can't separate those two things.
Okay.
Because if you're not engaged properly, if you're unemployed, the next line of action you take is being called an activist.
Okay.
Activists, you're not called an activist in that sense, because if your voice is out today and it's not out tomorrow, definitely water has passed under the bridge, and we sense that maybe probably a politician has cornered you and have your conscience sold before actually doing that. So most of what you see today in Nigerian politics is driven by unemployment and hunger.
We have seen a lot of them on this space, consistently lending their voices. They have not shivered in any way. Can we still say it is unemployment? And even if it is unemployment, it is not a strong reason enough to drive one into demanding the change that would want to see, that would eventually create employment, in the system.
What is happening in Nigeria in particular is social activism. Because we are liberal-minded, more inclined technologically. We all have devices, we all have mobile, we are all on the social media. When something happens on the streets, one seems to be doing video, sharing content, and like I said, when these lines happen, we call them content creators. And then the same thing of this thing is being driven by unemployment and hunger, because there are some people that have created fake accounts on Facebook that are attacking government or attacking individual from an angle of having personal infractions with those leaders. But if you see persons like us with our profile criticizing the government, we can be seen as political activists. Even if we are not doing it in line with our notes and nature as being a partisan politician, even in our party, as me as a leader of the youth, I say criticize by some extent. I criticize our leaders too. I use my voices to call them to action. So I will not be seen as a content creator or an agitator. Because if there is a bad policy of the government, we stand up to say no. It could be done better if it's taking this dimension, and government listens and readjusts. An incident happened in FCT, and I'm not to be precise, a few days ago. Some youth vigilantes woke up to the call and said they were going to take the majority of the security infrastructure or apparatus of the community into their own hands. And one of them ended up losing their life. Negative for that, because it happens in the community close to us. And I want to commend the effort of the AMAC chairman that has come and they have gone down to the people and have listened to the people and was able to call them to understand that whatever they are agitating for, it is going to flow to later. I hold the leadership of the leadership of FCT are accountable to make sure that those are implemented. Those are what we call agitators.
Okay.
They did it out of passion and frequent security challenges that we've gotten from kidnapping, from banditry, and all whatsoever. Those they lost their life in that cause, and they are celebrated as heroes. So these are issues that are in the front liner in our politics, and that is why we the youth must rise in our voices. We must not remain docile. We must speak to these leaders and call them to come down to the level of community development and have those policies implemented that can give room for an improved economic and social well-being of the people. So we, the youth, are rising, and our voices are rising the more. What our leaders, some of our youths are doing is commendable. People like Very Dark Man, Showere, and Peter, the INEC reform. I've sent a memo to INEC even in that regard, in my capacity. What needs to be done? What needs to be done? And how our electoral process and our vote too can be counted and have this conviction that if each time we go out and vote, our vote will count and actually impact a big leader that can actually implement what is our vision for a better and for a better society and a better Nigeria.
Okay, thank you very much for that. So, what ways in what you think activism is enough to bring about the change we want to see in this country, a democratic change? Do you think it's enough, or do you think there is, do you think there's a better way to bring issues up or to confront the government rather than activism?
Yeah, like I've always said it in forums like this. I said you can't separate agitations like what Sowore is doing for democracy.
You keep saying agitation, activism, agitation. What is the thin line between agitation and activism? Sorry to cut you on that. We'll go back to that question.
Yes, like I said, for my definition of what activism is, I said there are political activism, social activism, and environmental activism. What the line between activism and agitator is that you can take it personally on yourself.
An activist takes it personally.
Yes.
An agitator that takes it personally.
No, an activist takes personally on himself and say, okay, just like what Peter is doing in INEC, that I'm going to be a voice.
Then what does an agitator do?
Agitator. Agitator is that they are raising voices.
Okay.
From the issue that an activist have raised.
Okay, so an activist is a frontier. He's the one that takes the lead.
That takes the lead.
Okay.
Then the followers are the agitators.
Oh, interesting.
Understand?
Yes.
So once the agitators do that, they fuel
the
activism. They fuel the activists.
Okay.
So once the likes of the names we've called are doing now, they are championing the cause. Like what Sowore is doing is championing the cause of injustice and equality in society. So we now throwing behind him, we are agitators.
Okay.
Leading his voices and giving voices to the issue that he has laid there or has exposed to society. And that boils to what I was saying, that activism cannot be separated from protest.
Okay.
And from awareness.
Okay.
Understand? What these guys are doing, that they are getting people aware. Understand? Because we in this part of the world, we can be pushed to the walls, and we'll even extend our pushing outside the wall, and we'll see the return and say, no, we are taking our leaders the way they are. But these voices now have raised and said, no, things ought to be done differently. This is what the law says. This is what is attainable. But these laws are doing things differently. We cannot remain docile. We have to hold it accountable. With the like of what is happening supposedly similar world or similar countries, deporting our youth back to Africa. Reason that we should go back to our country and hold our leader accountable. If we are here and our health are working and our children are shared justice, there's equality, it's because we took a stand and said this is what must happen, this is what we stand. Those leaders have risen and getting results. Listen.
Have we really gotten results?
No, not in Nigeria.
Okay.
In the similar world. That's why they are not encouraging us now to go back to our country and raise our voices against our leaders and be accountable, and so they will be accountable to us.
Okay.
And implement these things that we feel we are enjoying or we are calling a better society in their own country. Because a better world is not just in the West. A better world can be attainable and achievable even in Africa.
Yes, true. Okay, so talking about activism now, that's the focus of our conversation. Do you think that it's time for activists to build political parties, or do they just stay as being watchdogs?
Political parties are formed by the virtue of one or two persons coming together and said we have a vision, a mission, and we have consideration for a better society for the people. And how can we drive this change? Is by coming together and say, okay, this is what we want and this is what we must achieve. That's what the party is called. It's formed. You can't say that because an activist is leading a political party, is not seen as a good or better leader. He has his mission and vision for setting up the political party. We encourage more of that to happen, and more of that is even happening already. Understand? Some political parties are taking the enclave of inequality, social injustice.
What political party is that? So
No, some political are taking that inequality, like the brave movement that caused a stir in the last election, and they are still formidable to cause a stir even in this election.
Movement, are they a party now?
No, that's why I'm saying that. So somebody like the movement, like an activist. I can say Peter Obi is an activist. The opponents now are agitators. They saw his vision. They say, okay, we like his antecedents and we like his audacity. They join the movement and said they are the movement. Now they are now left with which platform can we use to implement all this vision and these good intentions we have for Nigerians. So they need to come in front of the political party and implement it as it is given in our laws that before you can actually attain the political office, you must have a vehicle that drives you, which is a political party. So that was what go back to what Obi movement had in Labour Party, which has been in existence. That's why I said some parties have their manifestos that are in line with some vision and mission or some candidates, and they buy into it and drive positive change in society.
Okay, I know that the Obedient Movement tried to form a party at some point. I don't know if they scaled through the INEC registrations to become a party. I'm not very much aware of that information. But then, do you think it's possible for Nigeria activists coming together for a particular goal? Do we have division even in that space of activism?
What has been the voices of all the activists is good governance. If we can attain good governance in Nigeria, most of our problems are solved. The reason why we don't have good governance, this is what we see as governance now is not good, is that our leaders having attained offices are not intentional. Understand? They took it personal, they take it individually, and the society they live in see the horrors that happen and say that no, we cannot continue this way. That's why I can use the FCT as an example. We are liberal voters. Yeah. In most cases, people could have said, we want party A to achieve this goal. We want party B to achieve this goal. And those things have happened and will even continue to happen. There cannot be an individual that can detect the political terrain of FCT as it is today. There's no political party that can say, I'm holding strong on FCT. I think FCT is only state, or is only constituency, is only place I say that vote really counts. And the reason why vote really counts is that we have more agitators in this city than in any other city. And when they stand with their voices and speak against any in society, they get results and they get and the word and even the people hear them. So I urge the people to rally around our leaders, the ones who are intentional, the ones that have the voices that speak to issues. In that, they can use any political platform to achieve their goal. That is democracy, and it's the beauty of democracy. Understand? Party is a vehicle that is used to attain leadership. Any political party, it's like a vehicle that is used to attain leadership. You can use a Benz, you can use a Toyota, but what it is that, are you in line, or are you in line with the vision? Or are you in line with the people? Are you in touch with the people? Are you in touch with their cries? Are you feeling their pain? And that is the area our democracy is going now. People want a leader that has empathy, a leader that's always in touch with the people, that feel the pain, that goes to the same, that use the same road, that use the same markets, that use the same hospital that the people are using. Those kind of leaders that Nigerians are yearning for. And we in the new constituency will be sharpening it in all fora and in all voices. Example, when the issue happened, some issues happen in Abuja. In most cases, the AMAC chairman, in the person of Honorable Chris Zakamekelegu, is always in touch. He's always first to reach the people and tell them that, okay, no, please, we are here, we share your pain. The empathy it shows most time is the reason why Abuja and AMAC in particular is a safe place for economic activities, and we have now seen absolute peace in the area council. So if we have leaders like that who are intentional, why will people not rally around them and say, let's see him as a young activist that is championing the cause for good governance. Those are kind of people that will rise in a democracy, and they're rising already. I got involved in politics because there are some issues in the society. I see that more youths are not comfortable with our electoral system. They don't want to go to vote.
Yes.
I speak to them. I say, no, if we keep on restraining ourselves for not getting involved, how do we now impart the change? Understand?
Yeah.
That was when I pick up the demand to say, okay, I'm going to vow for party position. And before I said party position, I was with the grassroots. I saw how people feel. Doing campaigns, I go there, I speak to them, and they said, okay, how do we make Robert more voice, more heard? Please allow him to lead this set of people. That way, they could be able to attain some level of self-realization and develop the democracy. And that's why I said there are more youths that are now aware, and we are trying to educate them more. More reason why they should join parties and get involved in electoral processes, either as a voter or being voted for. So we are pushing that to people, and the voices will not keep on rising. The voices are rising because what those activists are doing is that they are exposing the youth in society, and we, the youth, are seeing it from the trend of development and from what is really attainable in other clients. So we are available. We are now more ready, more involved, and even more educated and more known to say that this is the change we need, and this is the kind of life we need, and we are out to make sure that we get those leaders into various offices that can actually implement those change that the people are aiming for.
Oh, thank you so much. So clearly we're saying activism is key to the change we want to see, and you either take part in being an activist or an agitator to see our country move from where it is to where we want it to be. Clearly, is that what we're saying? Just in 2 seconds. 2 seconds, sir. Our time is up.
Thank you. It's a recap.
Yeah.
We can't separate activism from our democracy.
Okay.
And we are calling on voices.
Yeah.
We are refusing to be docile.
Yes.
I want to tell my youth out there that it's now time for us to rise and implement and call our leaders and make sure they are accountable to us, and our leaders too are intentional to actually bringing around the dividend of democracy as preached or as promised by them in their legendary campaigns.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This is how far we can go on the show today. It has been an insightful conversation with you, and to our viewers, we ask you to believe, in democracy. Do your own part. Yeah, we have to put hands together to make Nigeria work. So we will end the conversation here. Just after this break, we will wrap up the show. Please don't go anywhere.
Is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and international.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Monday through Sunday to a wide range of latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest. And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
I mean, the efforts to drive development of democracy are quite numerous and, again, multifaceted. One of them is the involvement of youth in the process. We've always talked about an all-inclusive democracy in Nigeria. Women have to be part of that conversation. Youth have to be in the mix. As a matter of fact, for a country like Nigeria that's blessed with these huge proportion of youth, population, you can't mess with that, really. I mean, all you want to do is take advantage of that demographic, all right?
Absolutely.
And leverage it to drive democracy, because whether you like it or not, those who are today the corridors of power at some point are going to have to take a bow, whatever that means. And it is the youth of today that will take off,
maybe the
take off from that
maybe
point.
the youth of tomorrow.
Well, we don't have the not too young to run act in place. All thanks to former late President Muhammadu Buhari. But quite frankly, we can't take away that, because there's the peculiarity of the energy that the youth brings. All right, you can't take that away, and it's the reason we continue to talk about how the youth can be more involved in the process and have those conversations that are very, very vital.
Yeah, I think it's simple. Every voice has to matter. We're in the era right now where every voice matters. You know, with social media platforms, everybody now has a voice. So how loud is your voice now? It's now, you know, the discussion, the conversation. If you want your voice to matter, it has to be loud enough. And thankfully, like I said, social media makes that possible. So it's not a time where people should sit at the back bench
and be complaining.
No. It's time to be active in politics, whatever it is. Go join the party, you know, just lend your voice and be part of the change you want to see.
I guess what Priscilla is saying is that just turn it up a little more. Use whatever platform you have, but just ensure that you stay within the ambit of the law while you do that, so we can all own this democracy that we've been experimenting with, as some people say, in the last 26 years. This is what we're living it on the program today. Remember that the views of our guests are their opinions, and all of the newspaper headlines that we bring to you here are exactly as published by their respective publishers. Global Television or the team here on Global Morning does not in any way make contributions to them. I am Uyi Agbomofuegbe.
And I'm Priscilla Obasi. Thank you so much for staying with us thus far. Stay tuned. Global Television still has lots of programs for you in the course of the day. Bye for now.